Working on Star Trek was one of the luckiest experiences of my life, and it was clear that having made two of these movies, that having another director come in to bring his or her point of view and voice to the proceedings was the right move. And we were very lucky to find Justin Lin, who had obviously proven himself again and again as an incredibly strong storyteller, filmmaker with movies of incredible energy and action. But what struck me more than that was his love of Star Trek. He grew up really, a lifelong fan of what Gene Roddenberry created. And when he spoke about the characters, he talked about them in a way that felt very much from the inside out. And I knew he could do the action sequences because that was something that he had such experience with. But the thing that I was really excited about was hearing him talk about these characters as almost like people he knew. So I felt really comfortable and excited to see how he was going to bring his love of these characters to life with this cast, most of whom obviously were people that had already embodied these characters, but to do it with not just another director, but someone who loved Star Trek as much as Justin does, he felt like the perfect fit. The first Star Trek movie that we did was the forming of the group, and as it established a kind of parallel timeline with these new actors in the roles, it was the beginning of how the Enterprise crew got together. Star Trek Into Darkness was very much a kind of galvanizing of that group, and Star Trek Beyond is the first time you see them on their 5-year mission. And what's exciting about this is that this is really the first time we will see the Enterprise crew engaged in the kind of adventure that you associate the original series with, which we really haven't had a chance to do. The last two films for us were very much ultimately earthbound projects, despite traveling elsewhere. This takes place, out in the great beyond. It's very much in the spirit of what Roddenberry wrote, which is sort of the idea of traveling out into the void to sort of see what we discover, and what they discover, who they discover, and what the consequences are exciting and enormous, and the stakes are as big as they get. Obviously, Idris Elba is one of the great actors working today. He is playing a character that is a kind of wonderfully complex character, and without giving too much away, I'll say that he's playing someone who has a very complicated relationship with Starfleet, with the Federation. He feels that he has been maligned in a way that has resulted in a kind of mad determination to not just exact revenge, but to make right something that he thinks needs to be. Sofia Boutella plays Jayla, who is my favorite new character. I think she is this unbelievably spirited and resourceful, sweet, funny, tough as hell character that becomes a very important ally to the crew. And I just think that Sophia did an incredible job in really bringing to life the voice of a new kind of hero who happens to not be human, who happens to be female, who happens to be a number of things, but she's mostly incredibly entertaining and a wonderful foil for a number of the members of the crew, and a terrific addition to the group. One of the most beautiful things about what Gene Roddenberry created was this sort of the optimism of the future and the sense of unity and community. And there is a space station called Yorktown, which is a kind of glorious manifestation of that vision, and it is a kind of a bit of Yorktown represents visually what the Federation stands for, which is all these different civilizations and cultures and species living together in this particular place, and it's very purposely constructed to not be of any one culture or civilization. It's very much about all these different representatives coming together to form this place. I think the way it was visualized is incredibly cool. I think, I was sort of jealous when I saw what Justin was doing with that, because I thought, oh man, that would have been really fun to get to do in Star Trek. I wish I'd thought of it. But it's a beautiful visually and also, I think, conceptually location that ends up being a very important part of the story. One of the great things about Star Trek, as opposed to other science fiction stories, is this is meant to be our future. It's meant to be a parable about either a cautionary tale or a hopeful future. And I think the fun of that is the ability to use music and artifacts and technology references, things that are from our present or our past, because it would still be part of their world. And we've done it a little bit here and there in the Star Trek films that we've worked on. We've had the Beastie Boys play in our movies. We've had sort of oblique references here and there, a car in this scene, a piece of music in that. There are a number of references to that effect in Star Trek Beyond, and they're always fun, because I think that not only is it a good reminder that this is our future being presented, but also it's a great way of establishing a kind of counterpoint, a sort of great contrast in what exists in that world and what used to exist. And there's something kind of wonderful to see how, in some situations, even the most old-fashioned analog piece of technology can actually be incredibly important and meaningful in a futuristic, mostly digital world. What Gene Roddenberry created was such a sort of powerful, simple idea, which is, what happens if we all work together, if we don't find differences but rather commonality, and we venture out together to discover. It is just the simplest kind of idea, but it's a deeply powerful idea, it's a deeply hopeful idea, and it's something that I think, because it was written as well as it was, because it was performed by actors who are as talented as they were, and it was presented in a way that transcended whatever the technological or budgetary limitations there were at the time. It was a sort of beautifully presented story of characters that you could really care about and sink your teeth into. We will always be compelled to understand the unknown. And at the core of Star Trek is a sort of brave and righteous ideal that through unity, through working together, we can go anywhere, we can do anything, we can overcome the most treacherous adversary. And I think that the beauty of the cast that we have now is that we have sort of miraculously found a group of actors who embody these characters as strongly as ever. They are not just really funny or emotional or talented. There's a kind of familial, authentic connection that these actors have together that feel very much in the spirit of what I think Roddenberry was going for when he created Trek, which is this sense of finding and forming your family, that you're not necessarily going to be with the people that you are related to for most of your life. You're going to be with people that you choose to be with, the people you work with. And it's a kind of wish fulfillment, I think, that you would be in a place where your job was important, where your loyalty was constantly being tested, where your bravery and intellect were equally important. There's something about Star Trek that is powerful and optimistic and sweet, in addition to exciting and surprising and shocking and stunning and sometimes heartbreaking. And I just think that it's the possibility that is so strong. And it's, I think, why its 50th anniversary is going to be, one milestone, but there'll be many more. He was not just a profoundly talented actor, but he was someone who became a good friend and someone who I loved and my wife loved dearly. And he is obviously missed enormously. The idea that Star Trek is going on without him is, it's heartbreaking, and it's also something that I'm proud of. I know what he felt about this character, and I know what it meant to him to be a part of this world. And he was vocal about and very thoughtful, as he was with most things, about becoming Spock again, and to have been part of that legacy is an honor for all of us.